All right, welcome back. We are finally getting to the, I'd say about the middle, maybe 2/3 of the way through the fun part. I think in the last video we'd started the crossover pipe, got a bunch of that stuff done. I'm gonna show you what I got done so far and show you, we're getting ready to put the wastegates in, and that's kind of it's a little bit of a chore, but there's some shortcuts that I like to do. But anyways, check this out. I'm gonna show you guys. So I think I said in the last video that the cold side is done. It wasn't really done. It was just cut and put together more or less. Now it's really done. Blow-off valve is put on. Both pieces are welded. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to this. I can rotate that thing around any way we like. I think that's how we're going to keep it though. Ended up putting a flex coupling in there. If you've messed with stainless steel tubing, like especially on a crossover, when you weld all these joints up, this crossover will move and it'll lose shape and it will not come anywhere near fitting the collectors. So everything is welded except this piece right here. We'll do this last, and that way it'll have the least amount of tension on it, and hopefully make this thing last longer. Now it's time to put the wastegate on. Wastegates. We're going to do the driver's side first. I like to take the path of least resistance and do the easy stuff first, and the driver's side has a lot more room. So I've got the first pipe, the flange tacked together. You can see it's a little bit of an angle. All this part of the stuff is pretty much eyeball. There's nothing really to measure, but I'm going to turn the camera around, show you where this thing is going, and show you my little shortcut that I have set up. All right, you can see the hole under there. Now, I've got under there, and you can see about where the hole is that it's centered in the pipe. And then I use this really long twist drill for a pilot. And that way I can pilot that Holesaw all the way to the end, and it will cut nice and clean and smooth all the way through there. All right, as you saw, I had to use the cutoff wheel and cut some of that excess piece out of there twice because the angle of the way that that tube is introduced into the crossover. But the cool part is that once you get far enough down into that cut, the pilot really isn't doing anything, so you can cut the pilot part of it away too. But look how good this tube fits now. There is no gap at all. And then we're going to have to extend this part of the hole a little bit further up the pipe so that this part of the hole fits correctly. Won't be much. That's a small price to pay for how quick you can hole saw that hole through there, as opposed to trying to hand fit it with a grinder or something like that, because that's not any fun. Anyways, time to get this tube fitted and tacked in place. Okay, we got the driver's side of the crossover is done as far as the wastegate's concerned, like getting the hole cut and the little ring welded on the tube, and then the tube's tacked in place. So check that one out. Using that hole saw trick works really good. As you can see, there's like no gap there at all. Now, what I am gonna do is I'm gonna break this thing loose, and I'm gonna set it up a little better when I get it out of the car. The other side fits fine enough to weld, but it's not good enough. It could easily be perfect just breaking the tack loose and moving that thing around some, so no big deal there. We'll get that when we get it out of the car for final welding. And then we did the same for the passenger side. Used the same method to cut that hole. And then we got this piece, as you can see, I've even already marked it. It goes in there like so. And perfect gaps. Nothing left to do other than just trim this piece and tack weld it in the car and weld it all up complete, because that'll be the last of it. Okay, so there's been some questions on how I had planned on filling the voids in the crossover pipe where the 2.5 inch pipes go into the turbine. And I've already done one, so I'll show you what that looks like, and that's right here. So there's that piece that fills it in. Turned out really good. Of course, we got to dress up the inside of it. And then I've started on the other side, which is kind of hot, and it's right here. And that is just cut out of a piece of 3.5 inch tubing that matches the size of the V-band. And this is what you end up with, the scraps right there. So there's nothing to it. Just make it out of a piece of paper. Template I got laying around here somewhere. Or I don't. It's gone. Anyways, so we're gonna dress that thing up on the grinder, get it set up, get it fitted, and get it welded. So it's sitting in there. We gotta go and dress these edges up on the belt sander. Same for that one. The biggest thing is taking your time, make sure it fits good. Sand or grind a little bit at a time, and you know, test fit a whole bunch of times and make sure it fits really good, because the tighter the gap, the better it's gonna look when you weld it. So time to get grinding on that thing and see how it goes. Okay, simple dressing up on the belt sander, and this thing is nice. It fits really, really good. We drop it in place. And I think you can see my witness marks there. Line those up. Fits perfect. We just hold it in place. A little bit of pressure on it. And mark it. Something like that. We cut that piece out. It will stay on the inside of the lines, and it will weld perfect. All right, so this one fits really, really good. Just some clean up the edges and we'll get it welded in place. Clean up the inside, this thing is done. All right, she's tacked in place. Time to finish weld this thing up. Put a bunch of tacks on it so it doesn't move around a lot. Hopefully keep it held in place pretty good. And after that, clean up the inside and we're done. And there it is, completely welded. Now it's time to clean up the inside of this thing. And I'm sure somebody's going to point it out, but no, I do not gas purge the inside of these parts. I never have. I think that depends on who you ask on whether or not it will work or won't work. In my experience, I've probably done, I don't know, I've done 40, 50, 60 turbo kits, something like that. And of the ones that were made of stainless, I think I've probably purged 1 or 2 of them. And they still crack, whether you do or don't, especially in the merge area. The merge is where all the heat gathers and does its damage and, you know, whatever. But anyways, to me, it's just not worth it. I don't, you know, it is what it is, I guess. But anyways, let's get on to cleaning the inside of it up and let's see what it looks like. Okay, we can stick a fork in this one. It is done. Inside of the crossover pipe's all cleaned up. Check it out. Definitely not my best work, but certainly not going to fall off the car either. So we'll get that put on the car and do the last piece, which is going to be the downpipe. Should be pretty easy actually. So we'll get started on that and hopefully fire it up pretty quick. All right, well, the crossover pipe is now done and on the car. The entire turbo kit is on the car, and everything is test fitted along with the front bumper or fascia or whatever you would like to call it. So I'll turn the camera around, show you what it looks like, and then go to the next step. All right, so you can see everything is on there. Wastegates fit perfectly. Turbo is turboing. And then passenger side, or driver side I mean, wastegate, same thing. Everything fits great. So all that is left now as far as the turbo kit is concerned is just the downpipe, the air charge sensor bung, and wastegate dump tubes. So we need to put, the wastegate dump needs to exit, let me see. Yeah, you can see right now the wastegate exits pretty far up here actually, probably around that area right there. And we need it to be further back, somewhere around the center of the tire, because when the car stages and it starts popping and banging and making noise and shooting fire and all that stuff, it will interrupt the staging lights, or it can. And we've had some trouble in the past with cars that red light automatically because of that. So obviously we don't want to do that, and we'll get that fixed before it becomes a problem. But there's a lot of stuff happening in this video, so I think that's a good place to call this one quits. We'll do the downpipe and the dump tubes in the next video, and fire Bob up. So if you've been following us on Instagram, you did see that Bob does run with this turbo kit on there. So go check that out, follow us on Instagram and all that neat stuff. And outside of that, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it.